I mean, that might be a scary
Yeah,
thought.
They're very sensitive.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. First on there is approve the agenda. Are there any additions or? Miranda, what did I call you about the other day? And you said we'll just add it.
The Parkland by Quick Trip.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, but you put that on here.
that's on new business, yep.
New business C.
Yep, okay.
We do have the press release that you guys wanted. Brian typed that up, so we do have that draft with tonight to talk about.
That's kind of with the pool, that could be with the pool update, I suppose, couldn't it? Yeah, yep. Okay. I mean, the agenda looks good. I need a motion for that.
Motion to approve the agenda? Is that how we say that?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
good, yay.
Yep, no, that's great. I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. The minutes from July 6th, get approved the minutes. Also, when at that time, need a motion.
Motion to approve the minutes?
Motion,
I'll second.
and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, then we got a little bigger one this month. Approve the accounts payable.
We had the Thatcher bill on there for the refurbishment. Appreciate the park board allowing us to spend some dollars to get the pool going, keep it going while we gear up for the fundraising and new pool push. I know it was $100,000 that we had talked about, and up being closer to 110,000 after the reality of the coping stone and all of that need to be completely removed. So, and Mike can speak a little bit to this too, I think, but we put some under general maintenance and then can't remember exactly. So that's why you see two separate checks there. So we were under the 100 on the pool repair. Mike, do you have any insight on that? I can't remember exactly how we decided to do that.
Nope, I guess I just included whatever it was in the memo.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Forgot about the memo. Mike's got a nice memo on there explaining everything.
On the backside.
On the backside, yep.
Elizabeth Callahan got a refund for the shelter. Was
Yep.
there any specific reason?
She paid for her rental fee and her damage deposit with a credit card. So then we just have to issue a refund check for that.
Okay,
Yep, for the deposit.
Did that happen last weekend?
The one on Saturday? Yep, that one did happen. Yep, she brought the key back today, said everything went well. There were a couple little things I passed on to Mike that might be coming forth. I think she said the refrigerator isn't working. And there was 2 broken windows that were already there. Like it looks like a baseball maybe got thrown at one in the back. And then I think she said there was like a little hole in one of the windows in the front that she said she had noticed when they got there.
Okay, the refrigerator wasn't working?
Yeah, she said they put food in it the night before in the freezer and the refrigerator. And then she said they were not, it had failed
I was out there yesterday to Alice's and they said, oh, yeah,
and it was working.
it's nice to have the refrigerator here. They said, that's all they said. We'll have to just check it out.
Or went out at some point.
Yeah, they said nothing about it not working. So we'll just have to check it out and make sure it's,
She also mentioned about the dam part.
Yeah.
Getting time for a little bit of
Maintenance maybe on the deck.
and then yesterday I noticed most of the picnic tables on this end, oh, they're just like, I mean, they were joking yesterday that they could do skateboard stuff on them. I mean, they are bad. You know, I think they were treated ones that we put on there. I think we go to just the regular ones, you know, we put treated ones on there because they don't want to rot, but they curl before they rot anyway. And put regular ones on there, you know, and paint them up good, they're not gonna rot. I mean, for a long time. So we'll have to take a peek at that too and do some maintenance. on it.
Like the ones out here?
Plastic.
Oh, them lifetime ones, yes, right. I think that's why we got the heavy ones here. Yeah. Any other questions on the? Well, I'll entertain a motion to approve the accounts payable.
I'll make a motion to approve the accounts payable.
We have a motion
I'll second.
and a second to approve the accounts payable. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, unfinished business. Do you want to do your pool report first? And
Yeah.
in case you can stick around if you want, but if,
Well.
okay, we'll wait till later then.
No, I'm just.
That changed real quick.
No, the pool is going really well. I think that, it's a lot of money to put into the pool that we did, but I think that it's well worth it. And I had parents today. I mean, we started the last session of 3. We have 3 sessions. So today was the first day of the last session of lessons. And I had a parent say that they've been there multiple times and that it's the busiest that they've seen it in the past summer. So, and she said, oh, and the rock climbing wall is such a hit and the kids just love it and everything's awesome. And I've gotten some really, really awesome comments about guards and the way that they're like interacting with kids and that kind of stuff. So I'm really, it's going really well. We've had some private lessons, some individual, we're still able to do like individual, like special education lessons for some kids who need that kind of setting, and that's been going really well. How many people? I don't have those with me now, sorry. Okay.
I'd just like to see a comparison of
Yeah.
other years, where we're at, if it's coming off of the COVID and open again, is it spiked way up, or are we just about
Yeah.
normal what we would be
Yeah.
usually?
Absolutely. One of the things that I've found like is it definitely dies down after 5 o'clock. Like it's less busy at that time. And it's hard because we have 4 guards on and like sometimes I'm like, we don't need 4. But then I'm like, well, but if people show up and then you don't have them, you can't have them come
Right.
back. And so it's kind of a catch-22. So I've been trying to keep like a updated list of things that they can work on up there. When they're not needed out, guarding because there's not as many people. So trying to work on that piece of it and kind of struggling with like, okay, do you cut down? Do you have them send a couple when you get closer to the end of the day? But then, like I said, people show up, then you don't have the staff. So I don't know, kind of trying to figure that out, but I think it's going really well. So
What time's the pool open till?
7.
Yeah, so it's a couple hours
Yeah.
that we're, better be safe
Yeah,
within 2 hours and.
yeah, because,
We should all go out there after 5 o'clock.
I think it's the best time to be in the water because there's not as many people. And
Yeah.
Well, and I feel like it's probably not as busy because you have to be back, with enough time to make it worth your while to swim, after they go home and eat.
Yeah, or like, okay, you gotta be home by 6 for dinner, you gotta be home by
Yeah.
5, or you come home at the last break, which is like 4:45.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. But I think that there's I've seen like some adults out there at that time just using the water for, various exercise and stuff. And so I think seems to be going really well. Yes, there's been quite a few pool parties.
And that they start when?
Well, we can do them in the morning, but we have had a lot of evening ones, and then they start at 7:15 and they go to 8:45. So, yeah, I think we probably had, I'll have to get a number for sure, but I bet we've had at least 12 to 15.
That's already good.
Yeah.
You still have tons of.
Yes, we do.
Next Monday.
Not next Monday. Yeah, so no, we've had,
Fire department.
yeah, and I know like the football. Yeah.
Or two.
Did we implement them alcohol rules yet before the?
Oh, I don't. We won't drink there.
Like softball's had one, like this summer softball, they just had one, and then, like the football team had like a camp, and then they came after their camp one morning and had a pool party, and then I'm coaching volleyball, and we're gonna have a volleyball one next week, so.
Baseball one, probably too.
Perfect. Yeah, so it's been really, it's been awesome.
What's it cost to have a pool party?
It's $95 for the full hour and a half.
Hour and a half, that's really good, yeah.
How have your lifeguards been working? Everybody doing
Yeah.
really good?
Yep, it's been awesome. So we've had, there was one week where it was a little bit like really tight because I'm gonna ask the dancers when they go on their trip next summer and make sure that I don't schedule lessons that week. Because it was, we were like down to the last people. And so, but we made it through, so.
Each one is every other year.
Don't worry about it next year. But yeah, no, it's good. Now I've had no scheduling issues or anything. And I've had a couple of people that are done because they have surgeries or college and that kind of stuff, but we're getting towards the end of the year, so kids are trying to get as
When
many
is the
hours.
last day of the pool?
We haven't necessarily defined it yet, but I was thinking the 22nd, but we could maybe go to the 29th.
Oh.
Just thinking if we could push to the 29th, if I have enough staff, but I haven't looked at that last week yet. It just depends on sports and college kids back, but a lot of the kids that are working don't necessarily have a sport in the fall, so yeah, might be able to make it. Yes.
Thank you for everything you're doing there, and
Yeah.
sounds like it's been
Yeah, it's fun.
we got going a little late, but it seems like it's been going great. Busy.
Yeah.
Cool.
The guards are happy. We did a clothing order, so they have like Zimrota pool clothes. And so they're all excited about that. And yeah, their swimsuits all came and they're awesome. I think we had budgeted like $35-ish a piece, and I think they ended up being 20 something a piece. From where I found them, it took us a month to get them, but they're here. And they were under budget, so yeah, so that went really good too, and yeah. Yep, it's going really well. I think that's it, unless you have any questions, but I'll try to get some numbers together for what,
Yeah, just
for
be interesting to
comparison's
see.
sake. Okay. Yeah.
Do you think a third lane for the climbing wall would be popular? I know it would be popular, because then they can race.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
That's what, we had that conversation with Brad Thatcher. He said if you have 3 of them, then they can race, which we didn't know when we ordered it originally.
You gotta be at
can't-
least like 2 feet apart
Yeah.
in order to do it. Why did they put them side by side? Why didn't they just separate the two?
That's what the brackets are. That's how they come. So
I have no idea.
I mean,
Maybe that
I
can
know they
make
sell
it-
one more panel, obviously,
Yeah.
so sales is in there, but it didn't.
Maybe
it
you
just
can,
Looks like two separate walls put right together, and the rules are you gotta be at least one panel apart, so
Yeah.
it means you can only have one person on the wall at a time anyway.
yeah, because then they can race up. That's what I'm told. So.
Yep.
Because we always had the boards separated, it just
We could
seems
get
like
the-
it would have been.
We could get different brackets to spread these, you mean, or?
If you could just separate them, then we could put them right where the boards used to be and just have them right there, so you could have two separate rock climbing walls, because you only use like 4 feet of it anyway. I mean, I see them kind of go kitty corner, but I was even out there and climbing on it. It's fun, but
Cool.
It is.
Well,
kind of a one and done. Once you've done it, you ring the bell and away you go.
It's amazing. Some of them that just go up and up and up and up and up. I'm like, your arms have got to be tired.
Oh.
For it. Because it's not, I mean,
Come home and go to
it's
bed.
not straight up and down, you know, it's tilted out and they're still, it's like, they love it. So, yeah.
Great.
Next year I'd like to put some sort of like bell or something at the top that they can like ring,
Mhm.
you know, button they can hit or something just to make it, that's kind of fun, but
There's been no near misses or anything report out there, people.
no,
Yep, good.
yep,
Everything with the life jackets going good too?
Yep. yep, that's gone really well.
No crazy parents just throwing them out the car? We're good?
No, yeah, we're good. Not having any issues.
What kind of things are you looking forward to changing or adding for next year? When I was out there, I noticed the very first thing is like the guard umbrellas are just, they look like they've been caught in a couple windstorms and could be replaced. The red and white ones look like they should
So we
even be
have a
taken
new
down.
one that goes by the small chair, but the taller chair ones, they don't ever really have out. So I'll have to ask them if they just don't put them out because they don't want them out, or if they don't put them out because they don't work. So I'll have to kind of ask them about that, but.
Sure.
I know that there was wasps at one point in the holes underneath the seats. So we like plugged all the holes with tape and like had sprayed stuff in there. I didn't go near it. I'm like really allergic to bees. So I didn't do
I
it.
did not want to die.
Yeah, but no, it's been going really well. So the numbers are good. They're all getting used to reading the numbers inside the pool house and reporting to me. And then I get to send them to Mike and poor Mike gets a text from me on Sundays and every other day. But no, it's going really well.
Good. How about the vacuum? Didn't we talk about buying the little
Yeah, I don't-
vacuum stuff?
That is maybe more of a Mike question. I have no idea where we're at on the vacuum.
Talked about approving that so we can get that, because that's something we could take to the new pool.
Yeah, so I think where we left it was that we were gonna look into prices or ask Thatcher about prices. I've never actually been in contact with Brad at all, so I don't know. That's maybe more of a Mike
Do
question.
you remember where we left that, the vacuum for the pool?
I think Brian can maybe chime in too, but it sounded like the vacuum that we would actually need for this pool and the pool moving forward was probably double the price of what we had set for, what you guys had set for a price to give us. It was close to $5,000, so we just kind of didn't pursue that anymore.
Yeah, I couldn't remember the exact number, but yeah, it was, like you said, it was double. What did we set here, 2,500?
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then that was
Yeah.
kind of doing a little bit of research on, and, in all actuality, yeah,
Or way more.
yeah, if you want one that's gonna last long enough to,
We should do that before fall
Sure.
still.
then it's $5,000,
Right.
give or take. We've got a quote somewhere, we can look that back up, but yeah, it's $5,000 or more, a little more. Yep. And
How about concessions? I mean, I know other pools offer concessions and stuff. Is that something we want our guards to be doing, or?
So I think that it's something that we could look into, but I think, I could be wrong, but I think that it's something where like you fall under like a different health department
Yeah.
thing, and there's no way that with that pool house that we would pass any sort of food,
Sure.
anything.
Yep.
Just because it's not set up for that and it's, yeah, so,
They don't go off of 1971 standards anymore, is what you're saying?
no, I wish that they did, but
just a crock pot full of hot dogs.
I think we're grandfathered in, aren't we?
What way?
Maybe for a fire department party.
Yeah.
Yep.
Concession truck, like a food truck.
yeah, that'd be fun.
Ones that have party, do they bring stuff?
Yeah, sometimes, and we don't allow food in the pool area, but there's picnic
Oh.
tables outside of the pool area.
Okay.
And so if they have something to set up out there, they food like that kind of stuff. The pop has been, now the pop machine is working and hasn't not worked in a while. They've been going through it pretty quick, so.
Good.
The dentist in town is one of my best friends. I'm like, well, you're gonna see the kid.
Mountain Dew in there.
Yes.
You won't be able to keep that around.
That's a hot one.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Big maintenance issues or anything? There's no real concerns? I mean, the pool's been up and running, knock on wood.
Yeah, no, not that I'm aware of. Like I said, I'm not necessarily, in the pool house all the time. I know what to keep an eye on to tell them it's off, but I don't know a ton beyond that. I'm gonna try to get my pool operating license this winter so that I can also, don't have to call them at Sunday at 8 PM.
Oh.
I can just do it myself. So we'll see, but that's kind of one of the goals. And then, yeah, I haven't noticed anything really. Like I said, the health department came through and went through, I walked through the entire inspection with her because I wanted to know what exactly she's looking for and what I should be paying attention to because I don't know. And so that was really good. Got a good report. We needed to move a couple things around, but yeah, good. It's all good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
I asked one of the guys when I was out there too, if they had anything, and the only thing that they had brought up was the front door was a real pain, the lock or something, I don't know what it was.
It's just finicky.
Yep.
It's not, it works every time, but it's just a certain way you turn it. And when you turn it that way, you also have to pull the handle that way. So it's just not, it doesn't feel normal or natural to do it that way. And every time I have to think about it before I do it, but it works. It's just,
It takes just the right touch.
Mike and the guys covered the rust up, so that's good.
yeah.
It's still there, but it's just
They wanted
covered.
to replace the door, but we figured for the length of time, I expected to see it.
Yeah.
Right.
And the panels that are on it look great.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it doesn't
Yeah.
look bad.
It doesn't
No.
look bad.
No, not at all. So it's gone well. I haven't had any real complaints about anything at all. I've had, there's, parents who have questions about like swim lesson stuff and that kind of, but nothing out of the ordinary. So, yeah, it's going well.
Good. Well, then we'll move on. Priority list. Campground design discussion.
Sorry, Fred.
Yep.
Look over the letter, or it's in the packet too, but I think it should be the same. And just give me anything you want to change. I could also email it out and anybody can do and edit to it or whatever, but this is just what came out of my head. So you don't have to read through it now if you don't want to. Just let me know at some point. If I'm going to submit something to the paper for the next one, it'll have to be by Friday this week, by noon on Friday. So sometime between now and then.
You got anything?
Yep, give me a call,
By
shoot
Friday.
me an email, get me whatever you think needs to be changed, added, reword the whole thing, whatever. I just try to convey a few things on there about what we did, the age of the pool, what we did, where we're at, and that we're looking for people to kind of carry this through from here on out with fundraising. So anyway, sorry to interrupt your flow there.
I think I have somebody for the pool committee too,
Oh, good.
just as a side note.
Was whatever equals the check was, 5 million?
Actually, I ended up talking to Joel Young and it was 4.4 million.
Yeah. But.
Is what they bonded for the whole thing, I think. How in the world did you do that? So, and it passed the first time. They weren't expecting it, so they had some budgeting things to work through for a few years.
Well, that's probably that's a reality number because, I've looked at Chatfield many times, been down there and it's, I don't know how much, I think the way we can hopefully maybe down the road, we talked about if we can get our own bids on the mechanical rooms and stuff like that, maybe that'll be, but high dollar. I mean, I don't think we're gonna get anything much less than that if we have them do it all. It's just gonna take a selling point to do that.
We will give you a solid number as a staff and a council. The mayor will give you a solid number that this is what we can bond for.
Good.
And then whatever beyond that would have to be fundraised. So
Okay.
that way there's no secret, no
Right.
miscommunication, so the members don't feel like they did all this work for nothing again.
Okay.
I should say that when you were talking about concessions, I think that in pursuing a new pool, I think that that's something we should add, is concessions. I just don't know that it's something that is really all that doable in this setting.
And I think additional staff at that point would be.
Oh, yeah, I think that they could probably do it if it's if it's not like a, you know, you're not serving an entire meal, but if it's, you know, snacky type stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I think that would be a great thing to do, and I think that they could easily do that in the front.
Yeah, prepackaged type stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a whole different health license or, you know, so.
We just want to keep in mind that regardless of what we do, it's probably never going to be a moneymaker. So we just want to be cautious of that too. Because it would,
Yeah, we're not gonna put a whole wing on there. We
No.
went through that in the first pool.
Yep.
so don't like expect the concessions
Yeah.
like make money for you. I mean,
No.
you're not going to lose money, but you're
No.
not going to profit.
Yeah.
They even said that in the whole pool committee or whatever, when he was giving us the diagram, the only one that made the money was that water park one. Because they had like a whole restaurant in there, so.
Yeah.
But, and they had their own staff. It wasn't even involved with the pool, but that was the only one that actually made money.
In the back of
To
my
make that
mind, I
very
think of
clear.
like adding it to like what we have in a way of like,
Yep, just
you
like-
have a freezer in the back that has ice cream in it, and then you
Yep.
have like candy bars, chips, or whatever it is underneath the counter.
Just
Like
simple things.
nothing,
Yep,
nothing extra above and beyond, just, you know.
yep.
No, I don't really do that too.
Rubbers.
Nice to have a little shoe that's probably those snacks inside. Next.
I was too, because I had no idea what it looked like, so I started Googling pictures.
But they seem to have like some sort of little like fence, like just like a fence that divides like a corner almost,
Yeah.
you know, which that would be something to consider too when we do that, just to have like an area that's kind of like, okay, here's picnic tables and they're just here, like they're inside the pool fence, but they're not next to the pool.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
The pools that I worked at had it like built, it was in the same building, so it was a huge building, and then the entryway was like the guardhouse, and then your bathroom split each way. But then on the other side of one of the bathrooms was like the concession stand, and they would hire like, they wouldn't even hire guards. They were able to hire kids at like 14, 15 that maybe wanted to be a guard in the future, but they trained them in CPR. And then they also worked at the top of the water slide. So they'd shift and do food and water slide so that a guard didn't have to go up to the top of the water slide.
Oh, nice.
Not that that's an idea, but that's just what that's what I'm accustomed to. I worked there for so long, but yeah, that was, I mean, it worked out really well. I don't know how old that building is though. I don't know if it's been there for 20 years. I have no idea.
Well,
But the
that's-
town is about the same size as Zumbrota.
So that's great input. That's, yeah.
And then one more thing just popped into mind. You know, you guys had the discussion about painting or not painting and aesthetics and inside and outside, you know. I don't have a solid answer yet, but I've talked to a couple of painters and, you know, the inside looks pretty sealed. So I was gonna talk to Sherwood Williams or one of the painting places in Rochester just to see what their thoughts were, but it would be nice at least to paint the outsides of those buildings. Could be volunteer. I'd go out there. I have a whole bunch of friends that would go out
Plenty of
there.
people that would
There was-
volunteer.
that
There was a list on
if we-
Facebook
yeah.
that day.
If we were to
At
buy
least
some
25
paint
people.
and, you know, we would pressure wash it and then paint it, but, you know, for the years that we need out of it, even if the inside isn't completely sealed, it's gonna, I don't know, it's maybe a community pride type thing, or, you know, go out there and see everything is neat, tidy, they got the nice new vessel, so, you know, at some point, if you would consider that,
Well, I think we gotta wait and see too, what the paint does in the pool.
After
Drain it,
this
you
winter.
know, not 100% sure that we might not have, we might be painting that again too next year. So I mean,
Even if you paint it every year, I mean, what's the cost of 5 gallons of paint to do the 2 houses, you know? I saw the same thing online, people volunteering, I'm like, I was pitching $100 worth of paint to just paint it, if it only lasts for the 3 months it's open, it's like, at least it looks like a new pool house.
yeah, we can have,
look too nice, we won't get many donations.
Yeah.
we've got a pressure washer, so we can wash it down and then we can paint it.
Can we move forward with that vacuum? It was suggested to prevent any damage from the leaves,
And the staining and the,
right?
yeah.
He said, Brad had said the biggest thing is making sure when we close it down, that thing is just
Crystal
clean,
clean.
spotless. So I don't know if it's a whole team of volunteers to go out there and scrub the walls and do the thing when we do it, pick all the leaves out and then cover it all up or what, but he said the leaves that get in there and stick to the sidewall, that will completely eat away and do what they need to do and stain it.
We don't cover the pool in the winter though,
I'd
do
say,
we?
No.
because
Whenever
it
it
gets drained.
goes in there.
Yeah.
It gets drained all the way, except for the bottom when it rains and stuff.
Yeah.
That's probably where the big issue is gonna be with the water.
Like Mike had said, to try and keep on top of the leaves is tough.
Yeah.
He said they do the best they can.
Well, and it just goes over the fence and swirls in there.
Sure.
Yeah, it's losing battle.
But being, like I said about the vacuum, yeah, I mean, that was meant to be kind of run all summer too, I think, and stuff, but we're getting late here. So if when we do drain it, or do like you say, we get it all cleaned up and then maybe look into it for next year or whatever. Or when we do the pool, I don't know. What's your thought?
It runs in the water. I don't know is it made to do the pool when there's not water in there?
No, I think it only runs in the water, yeah. Yeah. I think it's something to like, if you're gonna look into it for next year, it'd be nice, to look into it like in January. So if it takes 3 months to get
Right.
it, then you have it,
I was thinking the exact same thing. The discussions take so long and we table it from 1 month to the next meeting. We should start literally January 1.
Agenda item there, Miranda.
So yeah, we'll keep that in the loop. Because,
We've got a number, I just don't remember what it was.
no, but through the summer, when in the fall here, the leaves, I mean, does the skimmers and that, do they take care of a lot of the leaves or not necessarily?
Yeah, I don't really know about that in the fall because I haven't really been involved with it until the springtime. So I'm not really sure. I know we clean the skimmer baskets out every day, but I'm not sure what all they pull out. I will say that when it was that first round of smoke that came through, we were there that night for a guard swim and then we came back the next day and there was like a layer of soot on the pool. It was, yeah, like not like, I shouldn't say layer, it wasn't thick, but if you looked at it, you could see all the black kind of speck and and that was funky. It threw off the pH and stuff because it was so basic, but yeah, it was interesting.
Mike, you think to go with that then? Is that kind of clean it up at the end of the fall here and
Better plan.
then we'll, like I said, how do we put something for January so we don't forget? Okay. Taken care of.
I have one more question then. Do you think then at that point is then when we discuss wages for next summer as well?
Yep.
Because we kind of talked about it last month, but I think that it'd be something that I think we need to have like finished before I would go looking for guards so that I can say, here's the payment. And I was kind of looking back after the last discussion last month about wages and like, right now we pay a little bit more than Goodhue, but if you look at like Pine Island's pool, they start at like $12 an hour. So I was looking through that packet and they start at quite a bit more. So that was, and I overheard the guards saying, oh, I teach private lessons in Goodhue and then work at the Pine Island pool and make the most money. I'm like, no, don't.
Want to be where they want to come here.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
No, because in Goodhue, they don't go through Red Cross or anything. They just teach lessons as is. And some of them are Red Cross trained, but the pool itself isn't, so it's not a requirement. So when they do private lessons, they can like contract them individually and take payment, where we don't currently do that right now. They pay the pool and the guards just make the hourly rate. So that's like a discussion we could have as well. I never had to teach private, so I never knew how that worked. And I just kind of went off of this year of how it had been in the past, but that might be something to discuss for next year to entice kids to want to teach privates and that kind of thing.
Let me do some research on that, because I used to teach private lessons too, and I'll see what they rated me at, because I can't remember, but it was like per the half hour is how they
Yeah.
charged it, so you got paid more.
That's how it is, I think, in other places. And sometimes they charge like, they do it during pool hours and then they just charge like, it's like $25 for a half hour. Well, here they make $12 an hour, if that.
Right.
So they're making, half, a quarter of what they'd be making if they taught a private somewhere else. But we do pay to be a Red Cross pool and all of our stuff goes through there. So it's kind of a catch-22 of like, maybe something just to consider for next year, if you guys have an opinion.
When the lifeguard gets it all in, they don't get, the pool don't get nothing.
Which I don't necessarily agree with either. But if there's some sort of, I don't know, that's just a consideration I know that we
That's
should.
something we could look at it to deter them from that, then maybe we give them a little more when they do private lessons, but I think the pool needs, I mean, they wouldn't be doing that at all if it wasn't for the pool.
Absolutely, yep, no, I agree with that. So it's just like, and you know, I think one of the big thing is just like the base wages, so like when we talked about it last week, or last month, just the consideration of that, and like the time and the effort and the responsibility that goes into their position versus a job they could get somewhere else, I think is a fair consideration, and if we have nailed that down before the pool season starts, then when I start looking for guards in April or March, and even late February, then I can say, this is what we can pay you, just so they know ahead of time, so that it's a, you know.
Yeah, I'll do some research and see what I had made for rates for private lessons. I'll have to look it up. I don't know where it is.
Okay. Sounds good.
Great.
Perfect. But then if we just while you had that up and we're talking about January, I figured might as well put that in there then. So, cool.
Any more pop-ups?
Nope.
Any more pop-ups?
I don't think so.
Good thing you let me go first. I'll sit with you. Yes.
Okay, back to the campground design discussion. I was talking to Mike a little bit about that. They talked about upgrading the campground, but he said that to start applying for grants, we need to design. Okay. Oh, and Mike, you can tell us a little bit more about the Zilgit here and stuff, or on the campground?
Yeah, and maybe we'll have to circle back. Brian and I will probably have to have a discussion about that. We might end up looking at our city engineer for that, which is fine. Just how things work, I guess. But as far as trying to get a campground design, we just need to move forward with that design before that all gets incorporated into the grant. So we'd have to have all that in order before we can get started. So.
Is that something Zilgit can't do then, or?
Well, I just think it's just in a consideration that we have a city engineer that I think we have to at least make an offer to him on this before we can, otherwise Mike would do it too, but I think we have to make consideration to our city engineer on this.
Yeah, we can have that discussion. I've got no problem with Mike doing it. I think we are able to have some leeway, as we choose on some things like this. So, we can make sure the awareness is there, which I think is good, communication wise, but I really don't have any issue, having Zilgit do it. It's pretty small scale award or project. I think it's something we could award rather than bid anyway, so.
So so next month is okay to decide on who we're gonna have do that, or do we just go? Does that kind of slows you up for grants then, Mike, if we wait?
We got till March.
You can just make a motion or something to allow city staff to hire an engineer to do the design.
Ziglet to the city, that could be quite a substantial number, couldn't it?
I know Mike said he was willing to work with us quite a bit on this design.
Yeah.
I've talked to him a couple times about it.
Yeah, and he's moved his business here, office here, so.
Absolutely.
So
he actually, it's no longer a Zilgit design either, just so you're aware. It's a big company now that he is, he sold his portion of his business out to this bigger company out of Minneapolis now.
Okay. I wonder if he's still.
well, somebody should talk to him about, even though he's with that, he's still got his stuff like this that he can do separate or whatever, and we'll have to talk to him about that.
Mike, when do this type of a grant, when do they typically do? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I believe they're due in March.
Yeah, so we need to move on it sooner than later, as soon as possible.
So. Get a motion to allow the city staff to go forward with the design company that they see fit. Is that kind of what we're looking for?
And we can keep, part of that, we'll keep you informed, as to where it went. If we come up with a big cost discrepancy or anything like that, that we need to call a special meeting or something to get things approved, we'll do so. But if it's,
Do we keep moving forward on them grants?
yeah, I don't see that there's going to be any issue. I'll just raise the awareness with our city engineer and I don't see that there's going to be an issue, but.
The basics of the design, have we already discussed that? Do we, as a park board, have a vision of the campground design?
Yeah, before, a couple of years ago, I should thought that kind of, been drawn out. What's that?
New pads and fire rings is kind of what I remember.
Yep, up on top, you need gravel pads and fire rings and electrical and the dump, the water and sewer on the right side or the
Yep.
correct side they're supposed to be in. Yep, with a road going through there and we'll be designing a new bathhouse too then.
Of some sort, yeah.
You, Attorney Taylor, you know about these older discussions?
I am not aware.
I've been just kind of listening.
So on the campground, we talked about, up above where it's kind of
Where the tent sites kind of are now and that
where we think,
multi-function playground or
I don't think it floods there. So we want to do 15 to 20 campsites up there for then they can lease or sell them out as seasonals. Right now, we got a waiting list of 5-6 people forever that want to, because there's only 4
Oh, sure.
seasonals
Okay.
down there. And there's always a waiting list. So we thought, well, if we get the seasonals up there, if there's a flood coming, we don't have to rush them all out of there.
Makes sense.
Just the ones that are down below would have to probably get out.
New bathhouse.
New bathhouse.
Yep. Absolutely. No, makes sense.
But there's not, it's just like a rough sketch basically, right?
What we got, yeah. And what it is
There's nothing.
the road that comes in, it would loop right down through and then there would be back in sites both ways on angles.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, we'll get more from this design or whatever that we're trying to get than we have currently. So
I still prefer to have flowering plants all around.
Flowering plants?
Flowering plants.
One's natural plants, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Yep. The mowing guy don't mow them down every week. Yep. Well, that'd be a nice thing about getting somebody like Ziglet and kind of give them an idea what we want. He can lay it out and we can add and change as we want.
Things like that. It's needed for sure, because Randy, you take quite a few calls for the
Right.
campground. It's first come, first served. Maybe we need to look at changing that at that time too. Have some sort of reservation system, not Miranda, but something online.
Yeah.
I don't know how to formulate it. Should we put Zilgit with the city engineering idea or?
I would just need city staffs, because then they can put the feelers out and see what they're getting in the best reaction. I'm sure they're gonna reach out to Mike and see if he still is willing to wheel and deal with us and work with us, or is that not an option anymore now that he's with a different company or whatnot?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it would be more of just a, hey, heads up here, city engineer. We're gonna be doing this, But I don't see that there would be an issue.
Yeah, and if it's Bill working with us too, I'm sure he'd sit down with you and listen to all, anything you guys want to talk about too. So, yeah, that's, yeah, either way.
What you said, Brian?
Oh.
Did you get that, Miranda? That motion? You kind of know. We're gonna leave it.
I would say, just make a motion authorizing city staff to move forward with campground redesign. Just campground redesign. I don't know, do you need to put anything about the engineer at all, or?
To go with the design company that they see fit.
Mhm.
Okay. So we have a motion.
I so second.
We have a second. Awesome. And you repeat the motion? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And then I kind of go through there and I stop and talk to campers out there and they absolutely love it out here because what they're, and we want to keep it somewhat smaller too, because, you know, they say, well, it's so crazy busy out the shades, or it's so crazy.
Mhm.
This is so fun just to come out here and it's quiet, you know, the pool's right there.
Yeah, that's what I hear a lot is they enjoy the trail. A lot of people come and
lot of
camp
trails,
and
and
then
then
take
when
off on the trail.
We get
Yeah.
this pickleball going and shuffleboard. I think it's just gonna be a great thing. And it's gonna
Yeah.
bring some more money in too to the
Mhm.
park.
We had a pool party from a family that came in, they were camping, they rented the pool out for a whole pool party, had lunch in the park, they had a whole day worth, and they had a pool party and everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did they plan that ahead or just
Yeah.
on the fly as they were
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, no.
Wow.
Well, yeah, especially if you've got kids
There was
camping
like-
and you're that close to the pool, that's just more money for the pool too.
Very good.
Our attitude as a park board should center on the promotion of our great park and just the continued support of promoting it. It's great to hear that.
Okay, Sombrota Regional Water Trail. We talked a little bit about that last time.
Did you ever hear back from the guy?
Yeah, I was wondering if you could response. I'm sorry.
So Mike actually sent him a very nice email saying that he would be interested in representing from here. And that was about a month ago. It was on the 7th of July and he hasn't heard back. So I guess wonderful.
Seems like an opportunity where you have to follow through and go chase it down. So, I don't know, I just sat on it, but it was an easy thing to volunteer for me, so. See where it leads.
Okay,
So I guess we can just kind of wait and see if they respond back.
Yeah, and I'll keep on chasing them down. I think it's important. So
okay,
just
all right.
gotta parse out my time.
Well, thank you for doing that, Mike. Thank you. Pool update, is that the pool committee?
No, that was just
We
yeah,
agreed at the beginning.
just any of it, all of it.
Again, Fred, or- Yeah, round two.
Well, I was hoping it was the pool committee, because have we got any response on that?
The people that I hadn't heard from last time, I still haven't heard from now, so.
We haven't put anything out yet.
No.
No.
Oh, okay, I thought we did.
That you guys read, the draft.
This is part of the draft.
Oh, I thought the draft letter was just to inform the people how crappy the pool was and stuff, but you got.
Mary had mentioned to
Okay.
incorporate the pool committee into it and.
Excellent. Then we'll move on. The new business, we won't give Van an opportunity to pool date. No.
I got all kinds of stuff to say.
We'll go to new business. Tree treatment, emerald ash borer.
How bad is it?
Mike, are you, I know Larry took me around the other day, or do you want to comment on this, or should I tell him what Larry told me, or what?
Yeah, no, I haven't been up to date on this stuff, so.
Okay, Larry gave me a call when I got back from vacation, and he took me out. There's ash borer in the city. Two of our trees back here we got like 25 ash trees out here. And Larry said, we got some options of, you can treat these ash trees, but it's very expensive and it lasts about 2 years. Or we can just take them down and start replanting new ones and stuff. And so that's kind of what he just wants us to be aware of it, that the ash borer is here and we're gonna probably lose 25 trees out there. So, and he gave me that update, and then, so today I was going through the park and I noticed there was a guy. Oh, that's what it was. That was the other thing we didn't put on here that I called about the Frisbee golf. I called you, he said, we'll just add it. Anyway, so there was a guy playing Frisbee golf out here the other day with his dog, and he was out there today, so I thought, I'm just gonna talk to him. I was approached by a couple other people that they would like to see us put 9 more Frisbee golf holes in, kind of through the woods instead of out in the open, and these guys are from town, and man, they had 20 Frisbees, so they're serious players. Yeah, so anyways, yeah, we're up for suggestions, just to, you know, and they would like the bigger, you know, cement pads where you tee off and stuff. So, which I thought was great. So I saw this other guy out here twice now, so I stopped and talked to him. He lives right outside of town here, and he said, oh yeah, he said, I go play all over the place. And I said, well, is there just anything that you, he said, well, you know, 9 more through the woods and stuff. And, because I didn't know who to get a hold of, because I think Dan, that used to be here, had a lot to do with putting these other ones in. Well, this John Stelzner, I was talking to him about it, and we're getting off the thing, but it all kind of ties together, so I hope they bear with me here. He's got a brother that would, he said, oh, I would love to help any way I can. He said, I got a brother that would come down here and look it over and kind of design something for us. And I said, oh, okay, I'll look into that, see if they say, oh, I'll just call him up. We'll come down and just look at it and stuff. So I said, oh, that's fine if you want to. So anyway, he's gonna be doing that. But anyway, he gave me his card, because right away he said, hey, my specialty is in trees and stuff. He works for the Dakota County Soil and Water. And he said, my specialty is trees. And he said, you've got some ash borer going on there. And I said, yeah. I said, we're gonna discuss that here at the meeting tonight. And I talked to Larry about it after I talked to this guy. And I said, do we treat them or what? And he said, oh, this is what I suggest. He said, if you got a nice, pretty ash tree in the front yard and you want to save it, I'd say go with the treatment way. But he says, for $300, you can start another tree somewhere in the area, and as these ash borer come, just take the trees down. He said you can plant other kinds of, but he said, I'd be willing to come and talk to you about that too, and tell you what to plant and stuff like that. I thought, wow, I got 2 for 1 there with this guy. Very,
Yeah.
very nice kid, and he said, well, anything I can help do. And he said, we love this park out here. We come out here, and so anything I can do to help. So we have that option to have him come in. And he said, I'll walk through too and look at the trees and suggest what to put. And
The main area of concern is the tree lined driveway coming in. All those are ash trees. So if they all die, or if we take them all down at one time, there's gonna be wide open. No, you know, because it's all shade going through there. That's beautiful.
It is.
So I don't know if you can take every 3rd one down and plant one between.
well, yeah, that's what he was saying too.
Down or.
He says, as
So have someone an expert like that be able to tell us. You know, Larry did a lot of legwork on this, which I appreciate. When he brought it to my attention, I said, well, get some numbers. You know, let's see what the treatment would cost, because at least that line there would be worth saving. But
This is a silly question, but you don't plant another ash tree in its place, right? You do different. Okay. I'm like, it doesn't go by how old the tree is.
yeah, you need a forester or
somebody like this to
this
give
to,
suggestions. So
yeah, to
maybe
do a plan.
I can
for us.
talk to him and he can
Yeah.
walk through it, and then hopefully we can put that in the agenda for next month and have him give us some direction. He said he'd be more willing to do that. So.
He said the onesie twosie ones back in wherever, you know, those just have to go, because, you know, if we're gonna spend $300 unless it's one that's shading the Kids Kingdom or something, then maybe it's worth the $300 every 2 years to keep that one going.
Well, the way Larry told me, it was $2,000 a tree every 2 years.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, my.
yeah.
Who you go through too, or what you.
And Tina's very interested in being involved. She's got a long history of arborists and tree knowledge, so she'd like to be involved in whatever process that we're gonna put together to do all that.
And Larry had mentioned to me, if I had seen in the paper that something came on the paper, there's grants for that also.
Yes, there's a grant, there's grants available, but they're due like the 9th.
It's the
Of
second.
August? Well, you know what you're doing tomorrow.
I showed it to Larry. I said, Larry, here you go.
Wow.
No, you have to put together a whole plan, which would be this guy. Yep.
I was gonna give this guy a call to see if there's any other grants out there other than this one that he knows about that we can go for. So.
They're not gonna die tomorrow.
No,
or within the next, so if there's grants available again next year.
yep, that's what Larry said. He said, just bring it to your attention so you can pre-plan this all out.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, they do. What's that?
Well.
You can treat them.
Because it's a
It
bug,
depends on how
right?
far it's gone.
Trey is treating his, and I don't know if you can bring back what's already dead at the, I think it died from the top down. But he's got some that he's treating, that's why he knows about this stuff quite a bit. He's got a couple in his yard that he's doing treatments on.
This is just because I'm a teacher. When you
Do decide to do something with this, you should, if you ever needed help with volunteering stuff, you should talk to like Angela at school, the science teacher, because I'm sure that she could incorporate it into instruction and then also like help with stuff. So like if there's stuff that ever needed like volunteering or something, helping with that, that'd be something to consider.
Right.
All right, so you want me to get a hold of John for the next meeting to kind of give his input on the whole
Yeah.
thing? Okay, I will do that then.
We rescheduled next month's meeting to
Yeah, I had to
the
check that.
13th, Monday, the 13th.
December 13th, okay. Excellent. Okay, skate park discussion. Mike, you were gonna check with somebody on that, weren't you?
Yeah, I checked with Jim Pear on that. They definitely need some maintenance on those. He had, gave the guy that originally did the work on that, some information so he could get a hold of me, and I haven't heard from him, but those sheets are expensive. I think they were $200 a sheet. They're special sheets that go on there, and I think we counted up, we needed 20 sheets. And he suggested that the gentleman that put that together should do the work on that because it's, I don't know, he's made it sound like it's some kind of specialty work to get that all put together. But I just haven't heard from him yet. So I'll just give you a heads up, there needs to be some work done on that too. And once we get all that information, I'll bring it back to you guys so you can decide what you want to do. There is some money left. I think Kim told me that there was some money in the skate park account. I think it's right around $3,000.
Did you ever go out there and look at those metal sheets on the bottom, Mike?
Metal sheets of what?
Just the metal that goes up to that wood where it connects it to concrete?
Yep.
Okay, you see
I
now,
I looked at the whole thing with
Screws
Jim
off.
and
okay,
So once we get a hold of this guy, he'll kind of refurbish what needs to be done then, Mike, right?
well, I'll have to bring it back to you guys first before we
Right.
just refurbish it, because he's gonna have a cost involved, plus how many sheets we have.
Yep.
to get. So,
Okay, that sounds good. 'Cause that gets used a lot too.
yeah, it gets,
Get that,
Especially-
I always see people over there.
last year and the year before.
On the trail under the bridge over there too.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be fun for little kids on bikes over there too, I see.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, like little kids with their bikes.
American Rescue Plan dollars. Health and wellness.
That sounds so, that'd be awesome.
Okay, so we'll wait to hear back on that then. Parkland discussion, area near Quick Trip. I was out mowing at Quick Trip the other, I've talked to this, like the first year I was in here, like Mike says, to promote, how much traffic goes around that roundabout, and they know nothing about this covered bridge park, or covered bridge park, or whatever. I'm sure there's campers that come through there and stuff. And I was just looking at it when I was mowing out there, like, it'd be nice to get, I mean, it doesn't look horrible, but, if we can do something to get, I don't know if we can put an area there with a picnic table, because we got that monument there on the Dubuque Trail, if we can get people into, but I had Mike Meyer just draw me up something quick, just to get it going, but this was, like I said, a couple of years ago. And then on it, well, this is what he had kind of come up with, just a rough draft that we can go by. that would invite people to come down and, because I mean, we do a lot of traveling and if I knew something like this was down here, I sure want to come and see it. So I just thought it'd be, we can work on it all winter or whatever, it'd be kind of nice, you know, and then he kind of wrote historic downtown, just, you know, there's some neat shops and stuff down there, just to promote it a little better and stuff. So that was the only thing that I wanted this on here so we could just start thinking of ideas of what, you know, we can't get too busy out there because of the roundabout. We don't want people, you know, but just a quick blur, but if we do something like this, an eye catcher, the bridge. Yeah.
Coffee shop down there now as well. So I think there was a picnic table there many years ago.
Many years ago.
Yeah, but it'd be a great spot for a couple picnic tables just for that.
You know, if we
Dairy
had
Queen there, quick trip, coffee shop.
Right. You know, they come, yeah.
And that would be great, somehow draw people downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then put like campground reservation links and anything.
Well, yeah,
Little modern tablet or something there that has a.
there's a swimming pool, you know, list of things out here.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah.
QR codes or
Scan
even-
code.
Scan it and then it
We
pops
just
up
scan
whatever.
it.
It could be painted on there and then when you.
You would.
Now you're forgetting about the older people that are coming in with the camping.
Keep her open, Fred, and give her the big roundabout dial.
Get your rotary phone at
One of those,
home.
oh my gosh.
On Facebook, that was a flip phone and inside it had the dial.
But what would be kind of neat too, then to have, you know, he's got something on here, like between the poles, like if there's some event coming up or something, because I know
Hanging up. Yeah.
because every year
Yeah.
we go out there with fence posts and a banner for and to me, it's always like, oh, that's the tackiest thing I've ever seen when you come into town, you know, but we could put the banner under there for the Covered Bridge Festival, or,
Yeah.
you know, he's got like St. Paul pancake breakfast or whatever. I don't,
Yeah,
you
because
know,
you can always just change the banners out.
Yeah, and then everybody could just kind of get on the same page with the size of the banner.
to read the whole thing, they'd have to keep going around the roundabout.
Perfect. One more loop.
One more.
Downtown business.
That old marquee that they change like almost daily. They got happy birthday
Birthdays,
notices
yep.
and what's coming up. I
That'd be
mean,
fun.
something like that is constantly changing where you
On
can
their
put
sign, you
something
mean,
on
down
there. Yeah, right at the Lions Park when you come in right there. They
Good
just got
City
the
has that one
old
too.
pop-up letters and somebody
Okay.
runs out there, but you literally could say, you know, fair coming up August 10th through this and just
Just
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
neat
the
underneath
the
there,
flavor
so,
of the week is can go on something like that. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
you know.
Me personally,
I was reading when I drove by.
I personally have been asking for one of those digital scrolly signs, like what Nielsen says. Anywhere, just somewhere.
Just one that you can just type things in.
Thought about doing this, I drove around, you know, there's a couple brown signs, you know, the historical that says Covered Bridge, but, you know, no big eye catcher to like, I mean, people find it because there's a lot of people that stop by here and look at it, but man, if we have something like this, I think to promote, like you said, Mike, to promote the park and,
Mhm.
you know, bike trails, trailhead or whatever.
I had no idea this stuff was even back here.
Yeah.
Then they'd see the park and,
Just so that we can-
Library rentals for the Gaga pit. and
Yeah.
pickleball.
Whatever happened with the old sign that we had, like the two city signs out on the highway and stuff like that? I know that matches the sign that's up at East Park. That's got a really nice, that's the first thing I thought of when I saw that right there, is that looks a lot like the sign that's at East Park.
It does.
Just to have the whole theme match with that, because I agree, the first thing I think of when I think of Zimbrota is the beautiful Covered Bridge Park. I mean, so if we can keep that kind of theme, that logo going, that's got great artwork already. And it really is, it's almost like a trademark for our town.
Public Works have the old city signs, or did they dispose of those when they redid those? Is it at the shop or anything?
we didn't have nothing to do with that. Whoever installed the signs took the old signs.
Sure.
It's just trying to match that artwork, that logo. I think then it just flows throughout the whole city. It's
we can
there at
we
the
can
entrance of
actually
the
send like a
park. It's up
picture.
at East Park.
Send Mike a picture of that East Park one and
Yep.
once we get, he did this real quick, but he said he'll design it on his computer, but he just said, I'll do something real quick and we can go from there.
Yep, absolutely.
So, yeah, when he gave it, it was like, wow, that's pretty cool, just real quick.
Right?
So should we make a motion and get this going or by Commissioner Mike Myers here?
I talked to Mike a little bit more and, because I asked, I said, I'm sure there's a cost of design and stuff, but he said that, well, let's just do this for now and stuff, and then I'll find out from him what it, and in turn, and,
I get you.
and yeah, that'd be nice to have this ready to roll, put in the spring or whatever, and so. Okay, so,
Benches out there.
well,
We do.
yeah, that's what Mike was saying, there's some benches. But yeah, we'll just kind of get some ideas for that. Okay, Goodhue County Fair overflow parking request. Everybody read through that at all, or kind
Yeah.
of know what's going on there? And that would be just
The main drag or what?
parking over here is what they're requesting, right?
Across
The way I read it?
I didn't read through the letter, but he came and talked to me personally, and he made it sound
Like they want to have the commuter lot by the softball fields and even the snow lot.
Where they dump the snow.
Yeah,
And then they would shuttle people from there.
if they can find a way to shuttle it.
Right.
Yeah, and he's just going off of what other area fairs and, gatherings have said that they've seen yeah. So this is like last resort parking. They still want everybody to park down there, but they just didn't want to run out of space and then now what?
Right. Don't want to turn people away.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All clubs going on that need it.
If it is, it's only one field and 10 cars or 15
Yeah.
cars, so.
No,
Did you guys know?
Games up there, it's just practice.
right, and the season's done for the
Yeah.
youth,
Oh,
so.
Usually right
everything's
around the
done.
fair, everything's pretty wrapped up. It's just maybe a tournament or something that pops up. Yeah.
I'm ready for it.
all right. So do we need a motion on that? To allow them to use that? Right? Let's do it.
Can't hurt to do a motion.
Right.
I'll make a motion to allow the park to be used. I mean, either the overflow across from the park or the softball fields to be used for the Goodhue County Fair.
Motion a second. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thanks, Stu. Softball field dugouts.
Oh, that must be this picture.
Great proposal. This one has been a passion of mine for the last couple of years, so I figured I'd formally bring it here and request either funds or ideas, input on how we can improve upon our great complex that's already out there. It's seen a tremendous amount of activity this summer, and Miranda will back me up. We had people trying to schedule games and all sorts of things. I saw both fields being used almost every weeknight for some reason or another. I would love to get it to the point where we can start opening up that concession stand and hopefully reach out to the baseball booster club and start selling concessions so that they can start making some money and helping grow the program themselves, because if they can just utilize that space, they can make some more money, help bring more baseball into the community and make that awareness. So the one thing we're really missing out there is dugouts. There's no place to sit, things like that. It was kind of funny. I was out there for my daughter's softball game, and a little gal from Rochester came, and this is 9U players. So this is little third grade girls. And she come walking up and she said, "We don't get a dugout?"
Oh.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, just like, well, we didn't have one on our side. It wasn't like we picked the only side of the dugout.
Right.
It was just like, really, we're playing in a sand lot here. We're like, oh, behind somebody's house in a wiffle ball thing. So obviously, I've been doing this for quite a few years. I think it was 2018 when I first came to the park board and started asking permission to put banners on the fence. And it was a labor of love, but it was a lot more labor than it was love to start help raising funds and stuff like that. So I had earmarked about $4,000 at that time, and I had some contractors that were willing to start putting up cement and do all sorts of things at the time before lumber got crazy. But they wanted like lifetime publicity for the work that they had done and things like that. And it just kind of fell apart and it never went anywhere. And then COVID struck. And so now I'm back. I got some numbers together. I've got a quick little proposal here of just basically an open lean-to, which is a very, very popular one. It's probably one of the most least expensive ones to put in. It continues the chain link fence approach that we have out there now. It doesn't allow any dead spots as far as like wind or sun or anything like that, but it provides shade and some prevent any rain if you're out there playing or whatnot. So what you see there currently is just a wooden bench that's just out there that you can move around, that they have to mow around, things like that. And that dugout that you see there is one I just took out of a field in Rochester, out of McQuillan, and just kind of photoshopped it into ours. That would literally use the existing fence that is there on the front side of the dugout. We would pour a cement slab 8 feet deep away from the existing fence, about 24 feet wide. And then we'd have to buy a new chain link to connect it to there so you could only access and get in there. And then the proposal that you see at the bottom there is 4 red rectangles that represent the dugouts. And then the yellow is just an extension of that same exact chain link fence that would allow the kids to go out there, or even the softball players, a little bullpen to warm up for when they're pitching. This would allow us now to start hosting little tournaments and bringing, outside communities into our community to see the park, things like that, and help again with the fundraising of the youth baseball. All that being said, I reached out to just one local contractor who was also giving us a bid for the cement on the Veterans Memorial. So I reached out to them. I think the costs we have are on the back side of this here. The concrete alone was at $4,600. Just the roofing materials, the lumber, the posts, the things like that for the dugouts are just under $2,500 for each dugout. The fence, the extension that would go around there and run the length of that is about $1,500 per, and then a nice aluminum bench with a back on it for the kids to sit and do their thing, or the softball players is about $1,200 each. And then we need, obviously, I used to come back year to year and ask for another cement truckload or dump truck load of lime to put on there. It hasn't been done for quite a few years, so we need some new lime. And if we lime right next to the field there, then you won't have to trim or do any mowing in between the fences. So that's where that little bullpen area would be. So I just roughly estimated $2,000 for all of the lime to do that. And then a couple little extra home plates and bases. It's just a couple $100 each, but it all tallies up. So it comes up to about $27,000, $28,000 to add 4 dugouts, some bullpens, things like that. And I think I still have $3,800.
Yep, $3,800.
In the banner fundraiser that I had done a couple of years ago.
Yep, and then we've got an old youth baseball fund or checkbook that when Todd Cordes and I used to run the youth baseball, that's got about 500, a little more than $500 in there that what we would want to put towards this as well. They did that, used some of those funds that we used to have for the batting cage in the Zeppa. So we were kind of looking for something in Zumbrota to direct the rest of that 500 in. Here it is, this is perfect. So
that would be perfect. And then, so what I'm looking for is a number that the park board would be comfortable with, matching funds, contributing funds, maybe doing it all, whatever you want to, and finding out what else I need to do or the community needs to do to make this go forward. Because there's still plenty of other things that can be done outside of even the dugouts. I mean, like he had pointed out, Mazeppa's got a nice batting cage up there. We got kind of one that's deteriorated a little bit up at the school, but just to make it a nice, safe, fun environment that we can host. I mean, it's super close to being presentable to the point where we could host a big tournament there. It's just missing the dugouts at this point.
and I said, Fred's got all kinds of contacts for volunteers and stuff. So maybe we should
Yeah,
talk to
that's what I was
Fred.
gonna say,
There's no labor for the construction, any of this
You're
stuff
just
yet.
thinking to get
This-
volunteers to do that.
Absolutely. There's,
Yeah,
just in the
I'm-
baseball community, I think there's plenty of dads in the construction
Yeah.
biz that would do all of this. And even the bid that I did get from the concrete gentleman, he had said that he had used the city to haul away some of the sod in the past projects and stuff like that. So he didn't put any like fees for hauling in any fill or bringing out anything. He said, so if there would be an additional fee, if the city wasn't available at that time, that would be tacked on to the cost.
When you talk about the construction piece of it, if you do it in the springtime or, when you're getting ready, you could talk to, I don't know when the construction house finishes up, let's say you have the construction class come out, if they're finished up with the house, maybe that's something they could come out and help with too, through the school. That would be a no cost
Yeah.
type deal, but something that's different than what they had learned, and that might be something new too. So that's
Absolutely. Yeah, with the baseball community and all the hype right now, especially at the end of the season, we got so many people that type of thing would be a weekend project and they would whip that right all out. It would be done.
Right.
My whole thing on when it's volunteer labor and stuff, to me as a park board, that's huge. Or anything we do in the park, you surely can't expect the parents to go out and fundraise for,
Correct.
I
Right.
mean, that's my feeling on it, is if our budget allows for this.
Well, and I think we should reach out, I know we don't have a huge Lions, but that they split the cost of the cage in the Zeppa with the youth association, and then we've got a current the new baseball association too. We can talk with them to see if there are some funds available to put towards this as well. And softball, what are they, the Sting, they use it a lot now too. So
Correct.
I think we reach out to all of them and say, okay, here's what we're planning, what kind of dollars can everybody contribute to help with this effort?
And there too, you can put it in the paper. There's probably people out there that would love to give to the youth
Yeah.
program
Absolutely.
that don't know nothing about it. I mean.
Yeah. I know my husband would. He played baseball in high school here, so I know he's very big into the baseball.
So one of the other proposals that I wanted to do that was much less maintenance than the banners all summer, all winter long, was a movie night out there. And I'd got a couple of contacts through Brian and stuff like that. I was hoping to do just before probably the Covered Bridge Festival hits, because I know we got another movie night or something planned for the Covered Bridge Fest. But my idea was always to have very similar to like the Field of Dreams, is just have a movie night, a community movie night, go out there and play like the movie Sandlot, where everybody's
Oh,
out
I
there. We
love
could
that
even make it an end of the year baseball party and invite all the kids out there and just have the parents and stuff, and a free will donation just going towards the stuff. And I can make up a big banner at work that says, here's what we're trying to add, here's a proposal. I can do something that shows like this and say, this is what we're looking for. We could put it out on social media. We could put it in the paper, whatever we want to do. I don't want to make it too big. I certainly don't want a big, huge thing, but I mean, we could have popcorn or something.
So if you're going that route and stuff, would it be worthwhile to put like a cost for the batting cage? Because I think you might be surprised the
Yeah.
excess of money that you're gonna
Right.
get.
I didn't tally up the rest. I do have like batting cage and stuff like that, and I didn't want to put like an ultimate goal on there. I know on the GoFundMe's and different things, they start with a goal of X and they end up with 4 times of
Yeah.
what they're looking for. But I mean,
might
if it ends up way past that, trust me, I have no shortage of things. We don't have any lights out there. We don't have scoreboards. We could remodel the concession stand, because right now it's just a place to park a lawnmower. But with a refrigerator and a nice top, I mean, we could open up the concession stand. The roll top like opening is already there for it. We were just at a beautiful complex in Byron where they must have made thousands of dollars this last coming weekend. The concession stand had a line at the whole entire day for
Yeah.
10 hours each day. I mean, it was just fantastic. And all they offered was stuff that you get at Sam's Club and some hot dogs that they were heating up
Right.
and pizza. I mean, it was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
So
So you want to attack this first and then down the road, you can do it again?
if you look at the last picture there on the proposal where you see just the 4 dugouts and the fence and just getting the lime up to date, that's just to get the fields presentable right there. If we do additional fundraising and go beyond this and we get more businesses, that was the other thing I was bringing up, is the sign that's out there right now has tons of businesses that donated just to get to the complex to that, level that it's at right now. But the sign is even starting to get a little bit weathered and things like that. So I don't know, some of the businesses aren't open or there anymore. So I don't know if we want to update the sign and give a chance for the businesses. If we do go and request community funds on top of what the park board is willing to do, I mean, like I say, we added lights to the hockey rink and different things, but I mean, there's no shortage of things that we could do out there. Brian and I had even discussed the old backstop to the old softball nets are still out there in the middle of where we might extend some of the Frisbee golf and stuff like that, just, south of the pool. If we did get some volunteers or do something, we could potentially take that backstop down. We could move it back over towards the skate park, Wiffle ball is getting very popular. It's just a little tiny thing, kickball,
Wiffle ball over here.
So move it out of the flood zone or whatever and put it over towards the skate park where those two empty lots are, because there's a much smaller field than a softball field when you're playing kickball or you're playing wiffle ball. But then you could keep everything all together. You got the new Veterans Memorial, you got the basketball court that's up there, which could use some new backstops and things. The backboards on the.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're outdated. I mean,
Because that gets used a lot.
yeah, it does get used a lot, but if you go out there, the backboards are the old metal and they move around a lot, things that could be refurbished. But batting cages, scoreboards, lights, dugout, I
Yeah.
mean, there's no shortage of things we couldn't put up there.
That's funny you said about the backstop, because Mike and I were out walking around the other day. And Mike says, we just gotta get rid of it. It's sitting out in the middle of nowhere. It catches debris when there's floods, the old benches and stuff, so.
We could repurpose that. I
No,
mean,
that'd be awesome.
Actually, Dylan Armstead, Community Development Director, had mentioned, a wiffle ball field right there even would be great. Some temporary fencing that you put up in this, but if we can get out of the floodplain and not have to worry about scrambling to take those out of there when it's gonna flood, that'd be better.
I mean, there's also such a nice draw over there. Like you said, the skate park is always very, very busy and the fields are getting used more and more. And now that we take down some of those trees up there with the Veterans Memorial, there's going to be a lot more visibility over there. I don't know what the purpose of the two empty lots are. I know they were, purchased or whatever, but there's nothing really there at this time.
That was FEMA buyout.
Yep.
Down lower here.
Yeah.
Yep. So
No,
just past the skate park, there's,
But that's
Skateboard,
floodplain.
yep.
yeah, but
But much
far
further,
less.
much further, yeah. We see how wet the park gets right down there where the backstop is now versus the skate park.
Right, we have to check that because when we went to do a dog park there, we couldn't put fences in the floodplain.
Oh, sure.
Wouldn't allow you to put a permanent structure in there.
That's what I was
Gotcha.
getting at.
Even offenses.
Yep. So
Because we
we're already
got-
grandfathered in down there. It's there.
Yeah.
Well, and-
You know for sure where you have to do it.
Great idea.
So we're pretty limited on what we can have there.
Sure.
Ball field, I know two kids that'll be there all the time and not playing in the road anymore, or hitting over the road. We hit over.
I do have to say, when I drive home, I see him in the backyard all the time.
Jerry's already hitting the ball over Jefferson.
I know about 18 from my neighborhood that would be there.
Yeah.
So what's the park boards, what are you looking for to say it will, kind of.
You want to do
That's right.
you want to set a number? Because we saw with the pool thing, if you don't set a number, then it gets to be tough. So
Right.
if the park board would say, oh, we can contribute this amount of money, then the fundraising will make up the rest, or.
Yeah.
So how do we know what we can contribute? We have to look at our,
We have to consult with Kim to see what's where. And I know you spent it down quite a bit with the slab out there. So,
and we got about that much that's gonna be going into the bathrooms up at the shelter.
so, yeah, I guess we'd have to look at that. This would be a spring thing, Troy, or would this be a now thing? Or well, you need a little time to fundraise anyway.
Well, I think just the cement and getting things started here could happen yet this fall very easily.
We've got, we know we've got $4,300 to work with. The new
Right.
Fundraising that we've got, so.
Correct, yeah. I mean, I have enough money to do the concrete, I guess is what I'm looking at right now. I just didn't know if we wanted 4 empty slabs sitting there in the spring with
No bench.
no benches, no nothing sitting there. I mean, we could put the benches that are there now right back on them.
I got me thinking about putting the whole path underneath the bridge to get over there.
For
and
sure.
Dreaming.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
extend that, rather than the sidewalk, maybe more of a path all the way up behind and.
I mean, the little garden or whatever we got going back there is going on too. I mean, it's just a nice little spot. Doesn't always smell the best, but can't move the sewer plant.
Oh,
well.
We're working on her. We're working on her.
Funny you should mention.
We can secure $75 million.
Yeah, that's it. I'm sure the last budget we had was like $330,000. Then we spent $100 on the pool. And 40 on the slab. So we're probably closer to like 100,000 in our bank account.
Well, was it 300 in both, there's a separate pool and park.
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of stuff. That's why we need Kim, because she's been doing this this way so long, it's hard for us to wrap our head around where the money is and where it goes and how it can go and move. And so we can check in. I think $10,000, $12,000 should be no problem, no matter where it comes from. If that's the desire, but as much as those fields are getting used now and will get used going forward, because, now that Sting is onto it. We had those fields to ourselves for youth baseball for many years.
Correct.
But it's good to have other use down there too. So, but,
The more they get used, the easier it is to maintain them. Because I mean, even just the weeds and the grass creeping into that stuff, I mean, they were turning back into a sandlot. I was out there with shovels myself the last couple of years, just fighting back the weeds. and
he's
stuff.
done most of the work out there for a while. But, as we're talking after what the fundraising and, we're talking about 24,000 left over to try and figure out. And I would think from a lot of these areas would come some dollars, some donated dollars as well. Maybe, who knows?
Well,
Okay, go ahead.
we're looking ahead at campground funds that are probably needed soon if the design carries through. But the pool is pretty much spent until whatever happens. And then I'm just saying that I'm one for spending the money and getting it done. We can do a price match fundraising story, but I think that's like a community incentive, and that still should happen.
Sure.
For future things. As far as the park board. I could listen to the
Benches.
It literally
So
scared
2
me.
benches, so we're
Well,
talking
because it
8,
sounded like a tone at work.
$9,600, 10 grand for the concrete. And 2
I got an old man ring.
Correct. So the totals are in the right
I
column
work
there.
in
That would
prison, so
be
usually when
everything.
that
So
tone
all the
goes off, it's
concrete
like
is
there's a
46.
goal. He's
So
going
basically-
like, ready to go.
Sorry about that.
To avoid the problem of having concrete with no benches, we could do the
Correct.
concrete and the benches if we had about 10 grand.
Yep. Yep.
And we've got 4,300, so, we need 5,700 bucks for sure. And that could be fundraising between now and then. You might bring in that much in the next week.
Right.
But if we had a commitment from the park board for 6 grand, could probably get slabs and benches in there and be set as far as that goes.
So the poles go in before the cement goes in?
No.
They go just on the outside of the cement, right?
go just on the outside.
Yeah.
Look at the ones in Byron, those were actually bolted, but I didn't really like those bolts sticking up either.
So in talking to Jake Rude from Creative Concrete too, he says a lot of guys will just sink the posts all the way through and then concrete in so that any wind gusts or stuff like that, you don't have to worry about anchors and then those things ripping out on wood. But like in Byron, they set like 4 anchor bolts down into the concrete, dug down in there and then set up an anchor bolt. And then they went with metal posts to set theirs rather than the 4x4s, which I didn't quote, but it cost of lumber, I can't imagine it's a whole lot more to put in a metal post, and then you got no maintenance on it once you paint it and anchor it down in there. But the whole thing is just a really open concept, so that the wind and everything goes through there and you don't have any end to maintain or anything get ripped apart.
Waiting for it in September, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
After the next meeting.
Yep, his quote was only good for 30, but it's not gonna go up. I can't imagine. Plus, I could get a second quote too. I know Kraus did the stuff for the hockey rink and thing like that, so I don't know if Creative is, but he said it's good for 30 days.
I'm sure Jake-
But
The motion today could be that, to cut you loose on fundraising for the proposed work.
Right.
And then we can visit about it next month, whatever funds are needed past what's been fundraised at that point.
then we get a chance to talk to Kim and figure out exactly what we're comfortable
But at least
earmarking.
authorization to, hey, yeah, we want to do this, get moving and see what you can come up with for dollars.
Yeah, because I would like to, obviously, within the next month, start up a fundraiser and go after like that movie night or something out there, because I think it'd be huge to capture on it. We're right on the tail end of a really successful summer program with both the Sting and everything, so I can reach out to both those programs. And even if it was just the programs promoting it, not even out to the public. I mean, that's where a lot of that stuff is already there.
Yeah, because I think with all of your ambitions for the park, the more of this we can fundraise, the better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's just gonna keep the longevity, like the, you know, it'll be good for years.
There
Yeah.
are hundreds and hundreds of kids using this. I mean, we've got, you know,
Correct.
we had 26
Just
just
one
in our grade,
for baseball only.
you know, and softball has numbers like that too, so.
That's awesome.
Are you willing to do the, like, or what, to fundraise, to go talk to people, to talk to groups, or
I think you get an ad in the paper right away.
Absolutely.
are you willing?
Yeah, no problem. I mean, with
Is that,
social media and the email chain we already got, it shouldn't take long to, it'll be
Right.
wildfire.
and park board would be willing to run the ad? If we put it together, then that's a few bucks. We'll have you put it together and then get it to me and then I can get it to the paper and they can charge us and we'll get.
Yep. That'd be great. I mean, we raise enough, we could put in bleachers in behind the dugouts and different things for people, the spectators and all sorts of stuff. I mean, there's a lot more concrete that we could put in around there too, a lot less mowing, maintenance.
I think once you get it out there, it'll come fast.
Yep.
It did for the hockey rink. We had people donate the lights, we got the electrical, we got all that, the boards. I mean,
Yeah, and you can bring in tournaments and that brings in a lot of people into town. You know, Four Fields in Byron, that was expensive though. But, you know, that brought in 100. I mean, there was
Oh, yeah.
people, we ate in town, you know, 4 times and, well, 2 tournaments in 2 weeks and we were eating. We left a lot of money down there.
Yeah.
As this gentleman I talked to, he said if we did 9 and got it, he said he would host a bunch of tournaments here then. And
Yeah.
he said that would bring so many people.
And that would bring in a lot of
Lot
money.
people come. He was excited about that, being able to,
Not a lot of, I don't think there's a lot of those 18-hole frisbee golf courses around, is
most of
there?
those you gotta pay good money to go to, you know, even around the cities.
so if we do that, there'll be some expense there also. Because he was suggested the, I don't know what you call them,
The baskets or
the
whatever.
baskets, whatever. He said, most of the guys that I would play with up in cities would laugh at them because they're so old. Now they bounce off, but now they got more that they stick and fall there and stuff. They've changed them so much.
I could talk to Ron at sports headquarters in Rochester and see if he could do some kind of deal for us. As he does a lot for our hockey team and stuff, not hockey here, but our actual hockey team. And he likes to help out communities and do stuff like that. So I could reach out to him and see, you know, what new baskets would run and stuff like that too, because I'm sure he'd give us deals. Yeah.
Because I reached out to a guy that lives in town that sells for another company about the nets for the pickleball court and stuff. So, yeah. So there'll be some, expense there too. We put the nets up and
What replenishes park board funds? Yearly tax?
Be somewhere. Yep, and I don't remember. I think we put a little extra in there this year. Not a lot, because we're kind of strapped with the Jefferson project. But I think we did start the increase there. You will be getting a presentation on the budget and all of that soon. And then we'll probably have someone to come to visit the council during a work session at some point. I don't know if that'll happen before we approve the preliminary one, though. That's coming up pretty quick. We only got a couple of meetings left.
so you okay with that route? And then we're not gonna let you hang. I mean, we'll find out from Kim what I think we'll do what we can do for sure.
Yeah, I'd much rather have a solid number. So I know what I'm going after for when I fundraise, but as long as I got permission to go out there and start speaking on behalf of the park board or even just
I'd put the grand plan out there, though.
Yeah, I think the work's out there.
Yep.
For sure. Yeah, dream and dream big and whatever we can fill in and then that's your long-term goal.
Yep.
We're gonna knock off what we can.
Yep.
Along the way.
And we should be able to have a number by next month, right? And what we can, or would you?
The rest of the numbers for the cage is one cage.
Yeah, one cage. So right at the end of where the trail comes out between the two fields.
Yeah.
There's some small pine trees back behind the really big pine trees. That's about the ideal spot right there for a batting cage at the end, away from the fields and away from the parking lot and stuff like that, but still far enough away from the road. And I mean, with the net and everything, no stray balls or anything can go there. That would be the ideal spot for a batting cage. But I mean, you could end up adding the concrete that wraps around behind the backstop, adding aluminum bleachers right behind home plate for each field. That's the way the traditional baseball, softball field is. So you can really host an event and have things like that. And then didn't look into any dollars to kind of refurbish the concession area, but like a new type countertop or some sort of painted walls inside there. It's not finished, it's just open studded area. You'd want to get some sort of countertop or a working fridge or something in there. I don't know if you sell a lot of coolers for the first summer or something like that, but I mean, if you're going to dream big, lights on both fields, potentially not landscaping, but we need to re-roll or flatten out the outfield. It's been several years since the
That's gonna
complex.
be more of a
has been in there.
maintenance thing
Right.
every year.
Just getting it so it's flat and presentable and doing its thing. Maybe a couple loads of lime to get the fields back up where they.
But you were looking for a solid number on the refurbishment or a solid number what we can give you?
I was looking for what was in the funds from the park board to find out. I mean, if there's only $20,000 available, I can't even put in 4 dugouts. But if there's funds to match and I go out and fundraise and come up with another 20,000 on my own, does the park board have another 20 to match? I don't know what the number is. That's what I was coming to
But that's
find out.
that's what you look for. That.
I'm looking for Kim, Brian, whomever to come up and say, this
So-
is what we think we could invest in that facility this year at this time.
Okay, so in next month it'll be all right. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Next month will be fine. In the meantime, I'm gonna start fundraising and saying, hey,
Yeah.
we're looking for the field of dreams. We'll settle for 4 dugouts and a batting cage or something. Right. We won't plant any corn. No corn will be being planted.
Thank goodness.
Yep.
Mine was fine.
So you know, I have one of the rolling screens from the school when they took them down. And my mom has it, and they have a barn outside of town and, or outside of Belchester. And I have it because we have a projector that we do movies and stuff. So if you needed that, you could hang it on the backstop or wherever you wanted to do your movies. So you just
Yeah.
let me know if you need it.
I use my projector on the garage door all the time, and about 16 feet is just a perfect size. So I was thinking, even if I had to go buy 2 king size bed sheets and literally stretch them with bungee cords nice and tight on a backstop and have the whole field full of just pop-up chairs and stuff, so it looks like we were watching fireworks. I actually got an old boom box that I hook up to a laptop and just blast it out there, and the whole neighborhood sits and watches whatever I'm watching because they don't have a choice.
I do love them kind of things. I just, a way to get the community, and I'm for all this, getting donated help, and this Cape Keenum was, I just go back to that. That was just a huge community thing and just awesome. So the more, I'm just for all of that.
Yeah, like Brian said, with the backing we got just in the use of that field alone, I can't imagine there's not going to be an outpouring of volunteers to do
Right.
stuff like that. And obviously, to Fred's point, once you get that community involvement, you get a lot of buy-in and ownership and pride in it, you know?
That softball program, I think, does pretty good fundraising, so.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great opportunity, future opportunity to bring in, you know, as we already said, other communities to come in and do that. And it alleviates some of the headache from some of the youth sports going out and selling salt or mulch or car washes or stuff. It's like, I know several other area communities that's their fundraiser for the year. Like Byron said, that's their one area that they raise baseball for the whole entire year. They just invite people in for one day and then boom, they're done for the whole entire year. It's a huge deal.
We have a youth baseball or a baseball association meeting on the 11th, I think. So we'll talk about this there too, to see
Nice.
what kind of money we've got available, put towards it.
That'd be great.
Very good.
All right, yeah, I'm good with
Good to
that.
go?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, all this positive that we've been talking about, I'm just gonna skip this last one here. No, citizen complaint.
I don't think it was on.
I haven't seen it.
I purposefully did make because it was just screenshots. So I'm like, it'll be pretty Let me pull it up here. Where did I? Oh, I think I saved it in my pictures. So, a lady had reached out to me in March with some complaints about Covered Bridge, about Kids Kingdom.
Vaping.
Ed. So it was earlier in March, she reached out and said, the bridge is broken. So she's talking about the bridge in Kids Kingdom. She said the bridge is broken, so when little kids run through, they often slip and get hurt. And she said there's not enough sand in the sandbox to do any digging. The black rope bridges are loose and touching the ground. And so we passed that on, and she had sent me a message the other day and said that those issues are all still there. So,
I know there's money for that.
Yep.
It's a pretty good fund for that thing.
so I mean, she wanted me to bring it forth to you guys. So,
Mike, did you ever, we were looking out there the other day on that bridge that was broken. We didn't see any.
Is it just because it's so low or what is
I
he?
think if it's not, I'm thinking of.
isn't it the one that's like up in the tallest part where it's supposed to be suspended, but it's not? It's just, so it's pretty steep.
It gets really steep and the kids
Like, it's
fall.
like
I
the,
know what
instead
you're
of it
saying,
being
but
like this.
And it's
like
not even
this.
fun, because it just is another, just, it doesn't do anything
It's
fun.
a feet pincher.
Yeah, and like kids like to, jump on that stuff, and so it's just, it's boring. But yeah, it's really steep.
I think so.
Or I don't, it's been a while since I've been up there.
And, Mike, is that something we get somebody to do, or is that something you guys do, or what? I guess I'm just asking for direction.
No, well, I took a look at it with Chris today. We're working on it. We got sand in there today and we'll work on the rest of it.
Oh,
Perfect.
so you got it all under control.
I knew that would be the
Yes,
case.
but you wanted it here, so,
So you want to,
Of
Yep.
course.
yep.
you did your part and Mike's doing his. Thanks, Mike, for doing that. Okay,
So to be proactive, is there any PM stuff or things that we run around and inspect, or do we wait for? I mean, I know earlier in the year, we had the person that wanted to reserve the shelter and it talked about, I would like sand in the things. And I know, do we have an actual date? Because it seemed like it was late in the year when we were talking about still getting volleyball nets up and going out and doing stuff like that. Is there a schedule or a maintenance thing that we add to?
Tracy did this, I believe, by Memorial Day. Right. Get it all done, but I don't know for sure.
like you kind of add sand to them volleyball courts as needed, don't you, Mike?
Yeah, and typically, they don't require a lot of sand. We have Tim Mack come in and till them up, and usually but we add sand when we have to, yep.
Is that something that you would want more help with, the seasonal stuff like that, Mike? I mean, going back to Fred's earlier comment about volunteers and things like that, is there like people we can reach out to that use the volleyball courts a lot or use the, horseshoe pits a lot that says, hey, do you guys want to help and in the springtime right away take care of this so you don't have to maintain all that?
So the horseshoe people, we bring them a load of sand in, they maintain their own, and we don't have anybody we just don't have anybody using the volleyball courts per se, just random people throughout
Right,
the.
there isn't leagues or anything
I
like
think
that
when-
anymore.
But when you're talking about the complaint, the sand,
Mhm.
she's talking about the
The sand box
The sandbox,
with
okay.
with the little hand digger thing in,
I
yeah.
was just thinking of Mike, like, he's got to fix the bridge, he's got to do the sandbox, he's got to go do whatever. I mean, he's got tons of stuff on his plate. So the little tiny things is that stuff, because now as we expand and add on to this, I mean, now we're talking about pickleball or whatever else was decided for that cement slab when it's not being done with hockey. I mean, there's going to be nets to take up, take down, do different things. Is there
Well, I talked to Brian a little bit about this, and I've talked to Mike a little bit about this as we're growing there. Maybe we're at a position where we have to, as a park board, hire somebody to maintain through the summer. Like,
That's what I was
like,
getting at.
like doing the bathrooms,
Roll into the
or,
winter.
and then that person can go out to the fields and drag them and lime them, so the parents don't have to come home and do a lot of that stuff. So that's, we talked a little bit about that, how we can share our summer. It'd be nice to get some kind of retired guy or whatever that wants to do 20 hours a week or something for 4 or 5 months, whatever. But that's something I think we probably should discuss this winter too, is looking at, and with Mike, and, have a guy that just takes
Doesn't
care
want
of.
to sit on a lawnmower all day anymore and wants to do an easier
Well,
job.
and do the, well, no. Just throwing her out there. But I mean, I think we could keep a guy pretty busy. All the stuff that we're adding and all the stuff that's.
Realize all the things that Mike and his crew do,
Right.
get things, comments like this all the time, and they're just taken care of. Every once in a while you get one that, well, I want this to go to the park boards. That's the only reason it came through here,
Right.
but Mike's already on it, and that happens constantly. Those guys are done.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot
But
of
we can get
territory.
somebody to relieve that, they
It's
got
not like
plenty other
anything
stuff.
was
that's them
dangerous
to
or,
do.
Right.
it's just not.
Unsafe, yeah.
Right.
It just wasn't perfect.
Beautiful, beautiful staple of our community. And I mean, it should be maintained and just pristine all the time because everybody's proud of it, right? So I mean,
Yep.
if we can be proactive before any of that stuff comes in, that'd be great. I mean, I even notice like a lot of people always complain about the trail all the time. It's not like we're gonna need to get out there and sweep it daily, but after thunderstorms and windstorms, I mean, that's just a lot
And they
of
do.
crap for those guys to have to go out and do. If there was maybe, again, a future person that maintains that could be almost a full-time job, just keeping the park clean and making a list
Well,
for things
there's-
that need to be hired out.
There's multiple parks too.
And there's East
quite
Park
a few
and
parks
going
right
on,
now.
all the.
There's the city hall area in there. So yeah, those discussions have been going and yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
So
for sure.
we as stewards can keep an eye out. We can do that too. And it's free that way.
Right. Is there more concrete or something going in? Somebody else had mentioned, I had been walking the trail this week, but said there was more concrete or some smaller slabs going in along the walking trail. Or is there some
Oh, is
benches
that-
or something being
Was
done?
that back where the old softball fields were?
Yeah, don't you, Mike, you had told me, well, there's one formed up here to pour, that we're gonna do a bench out here, a couple benches, right, going in again, Mike?
I had a bench for Richard Zwart in memory of Carol. I have a bench for Darwin and Mary Tree from the Compassionate Friends Group out of Rochester. And then we have a bench for Dan King. And then I've got 3 benches that we're going to put in. Once I get those forms pulled off, I got 3 benches I'm going to put up at East Park for the Lions Club.
Nice. Yep. Excellent. Thanks, Mike.
Another one of those things. The staff get done, so.
Well, and that's why it'd be really nice if we did do this, we found some retired guy that can, or not retired, but I mean, you can't really ask a young kid to go, but a guy with experience, they could be forming that stuff up and, get these guys more relieved to the city, or the streets and stuff. So I think that's some discussion we should have this winter.
Okay.
All right. I've never been to a 2-hour park meeting, but tonight we did it.
Well, we had a lot to talk about.
Even done the pool this.
Still have an update for you.
The other day, and I noticed we're still mowing every week, I think. And maybe we have to. Yeah, the
No, I-
June 2nd, 9th, 15th, 22nd, 30th.
Continue to mow, but I don't,
Oh,
there's certain areas I think Larry
Well, I
said that they.
think, I don't think
continue
they've
to-
skipped.
It's all $650 a time.
Oh, so they're not.
And I don't know, maybe the weeds are gonna look so bad if we don't mow it that we should, because I like the way it looks, even though the grass is dead, it looks kept. So I just, want to ask that question
You get
before I.
$650 a time to mow?
East Park is 188, or 189. Everbridge Park, 649, Ball Diamonds, 100, no, East Park is only $82 a
East
Ball
Park.
ball diamonds are 189, 650 for covered bridge. Anyway, I just thought with the drop.
Don't you kind of stay in contact with him, Mike, if you don't think it should be needed mowing? Don't you kind of call him and tell him?
Yeah, I just talked with Marty last week.
Yeah.
Because it's Parker. I guess I should have asked Mike.
Yeah, no,
I just happened to sign him yesterday or the other day, and I thought, maybe I'll ask.
yep.
Okay, good, thanks,
So
Mike.
you can talk to him about it. Sorry, I hate to tell the administrator what to do, but I'm sorry.
Nation, the park board.
Okay, anything else? Brian? Good thing- Didn't think of anything in the last 2 hours.
I'll pass till next month.
Well, then we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You didn't count.
It just doesn't count.
Went back to my board days there.
Oh, I just gotta push this button, right?
Hey, or I guess I never asked, Mike. Are you still there?
He was satisfied, I guess.
Mike, are you still there?
Speak now or forever hold your peace, Mike.
Hopefully it was-